All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. I had one of my patrons a few months ago say, hey, you should do a video about Tinsley Ellis. And I was like, nobody knows who he is. My audience probably won't dig it. And he replied so. And his reply back to me was correct. At this point, I want to talk about Tinsley because he's just so good. If you haven't heard his new album yet, I'll tell you how you can download a track off of the album for free, and you won't be disappointed. This guy is kind of like a poor man's Eric Clapton, or maybe a poor man's B.B. King. And when I say poor, it's just an expression I use. Doesn't mean that, if you're poor and you have no money, you go out and get Tinsley Ellis. But theoretically, if Eric Clapton shows up in your town, which is a high impossibility right now, you're going to pay through the nose for a ticket. And you should. You should pay a lot of money to go see Eric Clapton. Unfortunately, the late B.B. King, you can't see B.B. King anymore. But you can go out and see Tinsley Ellis. And you could probably see him for a fairly affordable price. Now, here are some of the quotes right off his website. Incendiary, scalding guitar and banshee solos, Ellis mixes soul and fire. And that's from Premier Guitar. During the late 1980s, when I was working in radio, I worked at a rock station that played all of that 80s blues revival music. It was blues rock. It wasn't just straight up blues. You had guys like Colin James on there. Obviously, Eric Clapton had an amazing run throughout the entire decade, had a fantastic band, and he had very accessible tracks. You had guys like Robert Cray and Gary Moore and Johnny Winter and John Lee Hooker, and we were playing all that stuff on the radio, mixed in with all the other stuff. See, that's how rock stations used to do it. If you go back and look through the history of mainstream rock, you'll find a ton of blues artists in there, some of whom I didn't mention. But if I went back and, took a good look at it, there'd be a ton of blues rock stuff in there. They go on here on his website, rugged, burning, and riveting. Here's why I mention all that stuff about the 80s, is that Tinsley, the music you're hearing on his latest record, is definitely in the same mold as that blues revival stuff that started to happen. And of course, you hit the wall around 1992. I talk about this all the time. It's just a funny coincidence, isn't it? That mainstream stations used to play all this stuff. And then around, 92, the grunge apocalypse hits, and all of these styles just go away. They go away. Now, like a guy like Kenny Wayne Shepherd, he was kind of late to the party, and he had a tune that got on the radio, Blue on Black, and that was, I think, 95, which was weird. I mean, he somehow broke through, but then, of course, was dispatched not too long after that. He got through, but then it didn't last very long, and he made quality music well after that, and he's still making quality music today. So in any event, he's the hardest working man in blues rock. It's impossible to not enjoy the ride, commanding on both guitar and as a gruff, full-throated vocalist. That's kind of where I'm getting my B.B. King analogy, believe it or not. He's got a little bit of that B.B. King in his vocal delivery, which I find to be very endearing. And he's been at this for 40 years as a blues rock guitar virtuoso. Very soulful vocalist, and armed with blazing every note matters guitar skills. And that's what you'll find. When he starts to solo, you're going to smile. If you love music, if you love great guitar playing, as soon as he starts to solo, you're just going to go, wow. And it's the kind of music that, the way he makes this music and the way it's produced, the production value, this is stuff that isn't really being made to this level. Only a few artists are out there who bring it to this level. There is a nice blues scene down here in the state of Florida where I live, where there are a lot of great guitar players. But Tinsley is a contemporary artist. And what I mean by that is his sound is accessible. It isn't that sort of bogged down, slow tempo, dun 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 dun. It's not that. It's again, very fluent, very soulful, very melodic. His latest album, it's called Ice Cream in Hell, and the title track, by the way, you can download the song for free over at Alligator Records, okay? I think it's alligator.org or alligator.com. If you Google Alligator Music or Alligator Records, you'll get to their website. So they give you a free sample in case you might want to download the whole thing. I think it's a good idea. This guy is very talented, and he really reminds me of that period in the late 80s where I thought blues was going to be permanently back, but the fad only lasted a few years before all the corporate radio moguls decided to just say no to really fluent, fantastic guitar work for the most part. So check it out, Ice Cream in Hell, Alligator Records. Great record label, by the way. A lot of very good artists over there, but Tinsley Ellis right at the top of my list. Again, if you like Eric Clapton or B.B. King, you're going to love Tinsley Ellis. All right, I am done with this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget about Patreon for $1 a month if you want to join. And then just subscribe if you want to do that. That's easy, right? And then hit the bell if you want notifications for new videos. I'll see you soon.